To be exact, with the official Africa Day celebrations are taking place, and Sam Marshall is out there doing the job for us on the ground. Sam, a very good morning to you.
Welcome back. We're broadcasting from the University of Pretoria at the Mamelodi campus, and I've got to tell you, it's going to be an absolutely beautiful day, but right now it's freezing. It's absolutely cold. So we started off by telling you what Africa Day is. It's the inaugural celebration. We're expecting the President, the Honorable Jacob Zuma, to officiate the inaugural ceremony of Africa Day. In actual fact, it's been Africa Month. Right now, I'm joined by Mr. Program Director and somebody who's been incredibly busy. I can only tell you, I can't begin to imagine what his month has been like, is the Minister of Arts and Culture, Mr. Nathi Mthethwa. Sir, thank you very much for joining me here on Morning Live. Let's talk about this mandate, this month. What was the mandate for this month, and how important is it that we now start celebrating Africa Day?
Well, the main thing is that Africa has to be seen to be rising, to regenerate herself. A lot of work has been done in the past. As you know, in the past 50 plus years, the OAU went about to decolonize this continent, which they successfully did. And with the launch of the AU, we are now focusing on AU Agenda 2063, which is, by and large, addresses the issue of poverty and underdevelopment in the continent. We are now putting in place practical programs from different parts of the continent, very practical to address the very underdevelopment of the continent and poverty, as it were. So we have passed the stage of conceptualizing what this Africa's regeneration is about and focusing more on the program. Programs of the continent have to do with integration, economically, culturally, politically, and so on, has to look into the whole issue of the infrastructure development in the continent. How do we connect ourselves from Cape to Cairo through telecommunications and through road infrastructure, through transport infrastructure, and so on and so forth. So there is a lot of things now. Arts and culture is at the center of this cohesion of the entire continent. As we are pursuing it here in South Africa, in the Nation Building and Social Cohesion Program, it is a program for the continent as well.
Let's talk about that theme very quickly. We are Africa. Now, tomorrow we are celebrating Africa Day, but today we've got the program. Why a day before we're celebrating Africa Day?
Well, it has been the celebration for the whole month. Started at the beginning of the month, because when we conceptualize this Africa Month and celebration of Africa's achievements and successes, we said a day is not going to be enough. A day comes and passes, and that's it. But if we deepen the consciousness within our society that we are Africa, it's not an accident that we are called South Africa. We are part and parcel of Africa. So the celebration today is the climax of the entire program of the month, with, of course, the Pan-African Cultural Congress, which is going to take place tomorrow. So for us, we see this as the whole package, because today it's a big day. We are here in Tshwane. During the day, we'll move to Ellis Park with everybody else, and all of us are, emphasizing the theme. We are African. We are saying opening the doors of learning to promote peace and friendship from Cape to Cairo. And it's a mouthful. What it says is that we are aware that this is the 60th anniversary of the Freedom Charter. The Freedom Charter, which was crafted by South Africans, but which is a document endorsed by all African countries and all Africans. So therefore, it's important for us to emphasize the point that we've got to do everything to live to the dream of true Pan-Africanism by our forebears, of ensuring that whether you are in Ghana, whether you're in South Africa or elsewhere, you are Africa. You can't be foreigner anywhere else in the continent.
Can I ask you very quickly to just personally reflect on what Africa Day means to you?
Well, what Africa Day means to me is my identity. It means I have to reflect where I come from as a person, the community who made me to be who I am today, which is an African community. And how do I, moving from that, stand up proudly so, in front of the whole world and say, here am I. I've been built, I've been produced by this soil, this African soil. I'm an African son who lives and grows within his African people. It reminds me of my root as an African.
Minister, let's leave it on that very eloquent level. Thank you very much for joining me here. It's the Minister of Arts and Culture, Mr. Nathi Mthethwa, who's the Program Director here today, but he's had a jam-packed schedule. You name it. We've been celebrating Africa Month, of course, and it all comes together today with the inaugural launch by President Jacob Zuma, who will be here, and he'll not only reflect on our past, but also where we're going and talk about our role that we're playing on the African continent. A lot more coming up from this venue here in the University of Pretoria. We'll have a chat to the MEC of Education, Panyaza Lesufi, next. Back to you in studio.